Hello guys and welcome to Twitch Chatter. Today we're going to talk about some tips and tricks and general things you might want to know about Apex Legends. But before that, I do want to clear up some things. This is more of a beginner's guide to help new players start coming into Apex for the first time. And if you don't know what Apex is, the easiest explanation is that it's a battle royale. This battle royale consists of 60 players per match. Another thing to note is that Apex contains hit scan along with bullet travel and bullet drop. This means you will have to predict where your enemy will move, sometimes aim higher than anticipated, depending on where your enemy is located. Another thing I do want to mention is that you should never be scared to use your abilities. Unlike other games, your abilities and ultimates come up relatively fast, and using an ultimate could give you and your team enough time to heal up and reload your weapons before engaging again in combat. This is huge, as a few seconds could indeed save you and your teammates from dying. Another thing I want to talk about is shield swapping. Shield swapping is a simple process of exchanging your shield that's broken for a new one. As you can see here, I was taking a lot of damage, so I ran and exchanged my red evo for a purple and then back for a red. However, this can be done with any types of shields, whether it's a white evo, a blue evo. As long as they're in the proximity and you have reach from, you should always try to shield swap mid-fight. Next up we have passives. The Recon passive is in Bloodhound, Pathfinder, and Crypto. This allows them to go to Recon Beacon and scout for the next circle. Small thing to mention about Crypto is that he's the only one that can scan the beacon from far away. Not only that, but his drone can collect and revive teammates from afar. Next we have Low Profile. Low Profile is shared between Lifeline, Watson, and Wraith. And what this does is it makes it harder to hit you, but it does increase the total damage income by 5%. And the damage stays the same if you're shot on the foot as it is if you're shot in the chest. And last we have Fortified. Fortified Legends are the biggest ones and have reduced the damage income by 15%. Not only that, but they will not be slowed by bullets. This passive can be found in Caustic and Gibraltar. One thing to note about Gibraltar is that his shield now has bleed through. And when I mean that it has bleed through, it means that any damage that exceeds over Gibraltar's shield health, which is 50, will now be applied to him. Alright guys, now the next thing that I did want to show you guys is the dummy Easter egg where the dummies will begin to shoot you. First thing that I did was grab some armor. It's not mandatory, you don't have to, but I did feel more confident getting some armor first. The next thing you want to do is run where I'm going. You want to run to the top right of the firing range to the last tunnel. Next up, you want to change into someone who can reach high places. I chose Pathfinder to reach the top part where you will need to go. Once you reach the top part, what you want to do is to get rid of the weapons that you have in your inventory. Armor is fine, but you do need to get rid of your weapons. After that, you do want to crouch down right in the middle or around there and change characters. You will know you did it right when you hear a mechanical sound and you go outside and see dummies moving around. These dummies will start shooting at you, but it is part of the Easter egg. This way you can practice your shooting, aiming, movement, and shield swapping. In Apex Legends, you can stand in front of doorways to prevent entry. Dinks can also prevent entries such as caustic gas, Rampart, Shields, and a few others. Now with that being said, some players do like to play around those doors, whether it's standing behind it so they can get through unless they kick them down. There is a few things you can do to counter this. If you have a grenade, you could throw a grenade. If you have a thermite grenade, you could throw that grenade sideways and the actual fire will go inside the door. You can use Rampart's turn to burst through that door, because Rampart's turn does destroy doors and other things in its way. The last thing you really want to be doing in those scenarios is walking up to the door and kicking it down. When you kick down the door, it makes a small animation, and during that animation, you can easily get burst down by a gun. With that being said, always look for another option. Kicking down these doors will never prove beneficial to you unless you all hyper rush at the same time. Another thing I wanted to talk briefly about was vehicles in this game. In the map Olympus, we have vehicles, and the reason why I wanted to talk about them is because a lot of characters can interact with them. You could use Gibraltar's shield to place it on top of the vehicle and make your transport safer. You could use Octane's launchpad to shoot yourself up in the air and travel a greater distance. You can also stack caustic gas on top of the vehicle to move alongside with it, and if you run into an enemy, the gas will go off. The last thing you could probably do with the vehicle is put Rampart's turn in the back to make a walking turn. And last but not least, I do want to talk about hipfire in this game. Hipfire in this game is pretty reliable, meaning that you can hyper rush using an R99 and more than half of the time it will work out in your favor. Now that you know that, I do encourage you guys to rush. I do encourage you guys to play more aggressive and to move around rather than just to sit in one corner and wait until late game. The last tip I have for you guys is to work together with your teammates. Of course, this might prove a bit difficult if you're playing with randoms, but if you play just right, you could always make something work. What I mean by this is picking characters that complement each other, like a Bloodhound and a Bangalore, a Caustic and a Horizon, a Fuse and a Horizon, something that can be extremely dangerous to enemies. And if you pull it off right, you might just get better before you know it, working together as a team. And the last and final thing I do want to mention is rank. Rank in this game works differently than it works in other games. You cannot de-rank from a certain rank. What I mean by that is, if you're gold 4, you cannot de-rank from gold 4 to silver 1. You will stay at gold 4. If you make it to platinum, then you cannot de-rank back to gold. If you're in silver, you cannot de-rank back to bronze. So my best tip for you guys is just to play rank. Don't be scared to play because you cannot de-rank. You can, however, de-rank from gold 3 to gold 4, from silver 1 to silver 2, and so on. But if you just made it to gold, you have absolutely nothing to lose. You won't de-rank back to silver 1, and you can play as many games as you want without de-ranking. Not only that, but we do have a bunch of events around the corner, which I do encourage you guys to participate in. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be events that are going to contain limited time skins, and it's just going to be fun all around. Now, with all of the things I've previously mentioned, I do hope you guys consider playing Apex Legends. It's available in Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Not only that, but it's completely free. So if you have any of the consoles I just previously mentioned, you should check it out. You might have fun, and you really don't lose anything from installing it and giving it a shot. These were just a few things that I thought you guys should know about Apex Legends. However, there is so much more to the game, and I would love for you guys to explore that on your own.